Welcome back to another unboxing of Face Mask Alchemy. Today we are talking about the April box, and it's called Greenery. It was inspired by the 2017 Pantone color of the year, which was Greenery, a yellowish green. It signaled this return to the earth, this return to consciousness of what goes in and on our bodies, and what is one of the greatest things for our bodies but matcha green tea. And so, of course, what is the star ingredient in the Greenery face mask? And that is matcha green tea. The cool thing about green tea that I will say is there's a lot of documented studies that it's actually really good for the body in skincare and topical applications and to ingest it. So let's talk about the April box. But before we do that, I want to talk about some changes Face Mask Alchemy is undergoing. The first is that there will no longer be a fancy colorful insert. Instead, I'm going to send you to the www.facemaskalchemy.com website where you can check out the blog post I'm going to do about the mask. I felt like I wasted a lot of time making those inserts because so many times I was minimizing the text and, you know, moving things around to get it look even, and it just really didn't feel like a useful use of my time. And so I thought if I do a blog post, then when I'm coming across interesting research about the ingredients that I'm using, then I can include it in there. Or if I'm talking about something that I've done a video on, I can link that in there too. So I'm happy to say the Greenery face mask blog post is already posted. You can go there and check it out, and it also gives you access to leaving comments and asking more about the mask. So let's jump into the other change. I mentioned in one of my Monday Mix Plate videos that I thought about changing the price to compensate for the postal increase. So I thought it over and I did a survey. And the one thing I really wanted to know was, did you have product left over at the end of the month? 66% of you said that you did. And so what I felt like was the easiest way to keep this box going in the same direction, which you guys all said that you liked and you wanted me to keep it going in the same direction, you wanted me to keep the oils, you wanted me to keep the honey stick, was to change the size. So you were getting 12 grams in a 1 ounce container. You'll now be getting around roughly 8 grams in a ½ ounce container. It's really the difference of a teaspoon. And believe it or not, because these are 100% post-consumer resin containers, meaning they are AKA recycled plastic, going down from this size to this size made up for the postal difference charge. And so because my desire is that you use this up in a month, I did take it into consideration that most of you are skincare junkies, and you probably mask with more than just my mask. I thought better to take it down one more time in size. I don't think that you will feel a difference in the size. Really, I don't. So there you go. Ding, 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 ding. All right, now let's talk about the mask. It's simple and complex all at the same time. I mixed a little French white clay with a little French green clay in equal proportions, simply because French green clay has powerful drawing capacities and I didn't want it to be overpowering to the skin. French white clay is reappearing in my mask simply because I love it so much. It's so silky, it's so smooth, it's everything I want in a clay. So of course it had to come back and mix together with French green clay and create the perfect clay base. Now, the next ingredient is that beautiful, beautiful 100% organic ceremonial grade matcha green tea. I have talked about antioxidants before, and I talk about it in the blog post, and in fact I have an amazing, amazing article that talks about green tea linked on the blog, and that is because it's an antioxidant, and not only an antioxidant but a super powerful one. And antioxidants are my favorite thing to put into masks because there is documented evidence that they do stuff. I can go out, guys, and I can put whatever I want to in a mask, right? But there's not always research that that stuff does anything. So that's again where you see my focus. My focus is on beautiful clays. My focus is on coconut milk. These rich, beautiful, pungent plant ingredients that are chock full of antioxidants and powers for the skin, simply because I know that there's evidence that it does stuff. And so, contrasting that, I have some historically used skincare ingredients. I have a little of Gotu-Kola. That is an ingredient that has been used over time, particularly in Ayurvedic skincare. It is known for its cooling, it's known for its soothing properties, it's known for its powerful firming properties. I use a little bit of comfrey root. If you're familiar with comfrey root, it is a root that is ground up. When you apply it, it has a beautiful cooling sensation to the skin. So I've balanced those ingredients with some ancient ingredients that we know that over time have been observed to do things. Then there's a splash of coconut milk, because I wouldn't leave you without that splash of coconut milk. And then there's a little bit of arrowroot powder. Like I said, this mask is designed to be a little more clarifying than some of my masks have been to this date. And that is because when you transition to warmer temperatures, you need that extra bit of clarification, where that heavy, dense winter skincare you applied, all of a sudden it became a summer day and you are sweating and you've got too much on your face and you need to go home and maybe spot treat. This is an excellent spot treat mask, or it's an excellent T-zone mask, and you really just need to work on those areas where excess oil or product has built up. Now let's talk about the oil, because I am so in love with this oil. It is a beautiful base of wild harvested moringa oil. Moringa oil is high in oleic acid, and so it really supports dry, mature skin. So if you have oily or normal prone skin, you may want to use the mask on its own. If you have normal to mature skin to dry skin, then you're definitely going to want to add that beautiful oil that we've made into the mask. Next up, I've mixed it with some Hawaiian organic avocado oil to give it a rich, creamy, buttery base. Then it has a little bit of broccoli seed oil, it has carrot seed oil, and carrot seed essential oil. So let's jump into mixing up the mask. As you can see, I have about a full teaspoon in this container. I like to say start with half a teaspoon, mix in a little bit of water, then start mixing a little bit more, solely so that you don't get too much water into the mask. I now have a masking 101 on my blog, which goes over some of the common things about starting to use dry face mask powders. I also am going to be working on a troubleshooting masking post. So if you're not getting the results you want, how to kind of tweak things. And now I'm just slowly adding water in. Now, one thing I think I failed to mention before is that the oils and the honey will dilute your mask even more and make it even more thinner. So if you're planning on adding some of your oils, you're planning on adding some honey, you want a little bit of a thicker consistency. So now I'm going to use a full dropper, which is about 2 to 3 drops. And I'm going to use some of my honey that is enriched with bee pollen, bee propolis, and royal jelly. So as you can see, when I mix the honey in, I get a really beautiful consistency. It is somewhat thin, which is just the way I like it. Don't be afraid to experiment. That is really what the fun is about.